Hello, peoples. Welcome to the Stoked Bloke Show.
Is that your catch sign now?
That is mine. Welcome, peoples. Hello, peoples.
Hello, peoples.
And peoples.
We want T-shirts.
Peoples is a word that can be used generally across all peoples, and it doesn't need any sort of attention to detail that, you know, that may be required. But
it's not gender specific.
It pays its respects, and I just liked it, and I thought that's where it came from. Was how can I address people in a way that is non-controversial? You know what I mean? It's a time where people walk on eggshells around things because it's a complicated time of life and opinions aren't respected or wanted. Yeah, so that's where the hello peoples came from.
Okay, sorry to cut you off. I just like it a lot.
I'm glad you like it.
I want hats, shirts, hoodies, sweats, tank tops.
I want royalties.
Two-piece bikinis. Yeah, you just go with the royalties.
You design the
coffee
line.
mugs. Okay, yeah.
And I'll be out surfing.
Love it.
Tell me, mate, you've been here at Pipeline every day.
It's been non-stop.
Yeah, I'm up the coast here at sunset, so I haven't been down for a few days, but it's been pumping, eh?
Can I just say, in the free surfs, we've seen the GOAT.
Yes.
Very rare to see
Kelly
the GOAT.
Slater.
Yeah, he's out there with the new hip.
Yeah, and?
Looking good.
Mate.
A little bit of a been in Florida for 3 months, dad bod. But still chiseled. You know, come on.
He's unbelievable.
And yeah, he got a good one last night. Seth Moniz is looking like the stylish master.
Yeah, that he is.
Some of the Groms, Luke Tima. There's so many. Of course, McConaughey has been on fire since he got second at the shootout.
This winter has been, a Pipeline. He is the rising star, so to speak, the rookie of the year, whatever you would call it, although he's not a rookie, but in competition, he stood up and staked his claim.
Only chance anyone who's not on the CT had to surf was, that Pipe Masters, if you got invited to the cool guy clique. And then, of course, the shootout, which had to be. Baron Mamiya has been doing his thing. He's unreal. Backdoor, regular pipe. He's looking really good. Baron and Seth are like the best local guys I've seen that are in the CT. Haven't seen John because he's away on a secret trip.
Is he? Secret trip?
Yeah, with Nathan.
Oh.
Secret trip. I won't say where, but the guy who runs the zone is the guy that discovered the Mental Ice.
Ah, yes.
Now you know where.
I know where they are.
So,
correct. But great to see them out together, adventuring the world.
I can't wait to see the footage.
And it brings up the subject, in this episode, we're going to look at the Pipeline Masters. It's 4 days away, 3, 2, 1, whenever we get the podcast out.
Yeah.
It's coming up very soon. You can tell it's here because there's pro surfers all up and down the strip.
It's really cool to actually see these guys back in town. Italo, Miggy, Ian Gouveia, a lot of the Brazilians. You haven't seen these guys all year. Why would you? There's no contests that matter for the World Tour in Hawaii. So it'd be hard for them to come that far. I've seen Australians, the big fella, Connor O'Leary, Ryan Callanan, a lot of my favorite people and favorite surfers that, the boys are back in town, Yeah. And a lot of girls jumping out at Pipe. Carissa's been coming every morning. This is, as we now can officially say, her last event on the WSL tour.
Let's give a little round of applause.
Yeah, she's been getting some nuggets.
Be interesting to see how she feels about it. And at the same time, Stephanie Gilmore
taking a year off.
Is that how it was phrased?
That's how she said it, because I think she wanted to leave her options open if she wanted to surf a couple events next year. They give her the, wildcard back in.
The GOAT wildcard.
But that's the two best women surfer on tour, not on tour this year.
Yeah, and
interesting.
A sign of the times. Perhaps perhaps for Carissa, leading the world and really, sitting on 5 world titles that in a traditional sense would have been 7. It's a shame that format, in a way, to me, almost felt like, and sure, the format, whatever it is, you have to surf to it. It doesn't matter. You don't get a choice. No one chose a format or a judging panel or whatever ever in the history of the sport. So you've always got to adapt to whatever it is in that moment. But it sure felt like that format didn't suit her. Going in the yellow jersey 2 years in a row, so accomplished.
I would have not thought that it was against her going to trestles. I would say it's against like a John. That would just be like, there's no possible way John will win a world title at trestles. I mean, 5% chance, 3% chance. That's my opinion. But Carissa, I would put her right there. Like, Carissa's smokes trestles. She's won pro tour events there. But yeah.
the pressure of that day, of that situation, that format, the way that runs just means that on that day anyone can win. And I suppose that's what they like about it, because it's decided person to person and in contact and in one day and in one place. And that is supposed to bring excitement to things and make it a more entertaining product.
Right.
But we know how we feel. We feel terrible that we're not going to see Carissa Moore, but we will one last time here at Pipeline, so that's great. And Stephanie Gilmore, hard to imagine with the young ladies coming through. Caitlin Simmers, Erin Brooks, there's this field of crazy talent that it might be fair to say that Stephanie Gilmore, while incredibly stylish, point break surfer that just makes waves look like music, may not be able to match it with that new guard of women surfers for too much longer. So even though it might be termed a year off, it's hard to imagine her coming back after a year off, unless she goes to gymnastics training and to the trampoline at the High Performance Centre and just goes and gets to the air, because what's coming is the best female surfing that's ever been, and it's on a level that the surfing has never been. Let's talk things and goings on here at the Pipeline House, New Earth Project Pipeline House.
Yeah, we had a summit of the advocates, of which you are one. Mm-hmm. Our fearless leader, Wes Carter, and Don Meek put together a really fun couple days. For surfers, we had Vahiti, Koa. Kai Lenny couldn't make it because he banged his head in the shootout, and he was just back home recuperating. Mm-hmm.
And he just pulled out of the Nazare Toe event for the same reasons. Kai Lenny,
Yeah. And then we got to meet, finally, physically, some other people that are representing New Earth Project, New Earth Values. Mm-hmm. Kimmy Fasani, legendary snowboarder. Cody Townsend. Incredible adventure skier. He's changed his whole approach to mountain riding. He now climbs the 4,000-foot peak that's already at a 10,000-foot elevation. So he climbs the next 3,000 feet with all that pack, and then they ski down these crazy chutes. Psychos. And they film it all. He's got an incredible YouTube channel. It was really cool. Hang out, barbecue, see some of the new products that we have. I mean, we could tell people, a New Earth Project, a New Earth House, we're a division of Atlantic Packaging, and we're the sustainable wing trying to push and promote sustainable packaging. And we came in hard in the surf industry. We got 77 brands that aren't using bubble wrap or plastic anymore. Firewire just came on board, and Slater Designs that Kelly owns. So Kelly just got some boards received today that he was unwrapping with the new packaging. No bubble wrap, no plastic. He was telling them, when you send me boards, don't send them in packaging. Just send them plain. I don't care if they get dings. I got a good ding repair guy, and he can afford to pay for it.
He just didn't want the bubble wrap.
He just doesn't want to deal with bubble wrap.
The guilt.
These plastic air batons.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was asking, what would you do with this stuff? He's like, I would normally just try and drive it back down to like Arakawa or those facilities where they pack boards and say, can you guys reuse this stuff? I don't want to throw it away.
Yeah.
But so the push is to make products that are sustainable for packaging and fix that hole in the supply chain. And then people who are like-minded, who want to push sustainability in general, healthy outlook, healthy conscience, not be, you've got some deeper thoughts, but, not be a slave to this corporate greed and this destruction of the environment, which is really destruction of the soul, which is really just destruction of, your fellow man. So, see, you like it.
Hey, I got him.
He's good.
He's good. And that's the point. What about, in Australia, you would put your cold stuff in what we call an esky.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I know, they're the worst.
You call them a cool, and that Coolite foam, the bubbly foam, that is one of the worst products in the market. But
a lot of surfboards are made out of that. You know that.
Yeah. Hey, so they have created a product largely made out of shrimp shells.
It's food waste, mostly made out of shrimp shell casings for cold pack, but that stuff is going to replace styrofoam. It's called cruise foam.
Cruise foam, that's what it is.
And it's going to replace styrofoam on a global scale. It's going to change the world. They got Leonardo DiCaprio and Ashton Kutcher, I think, invested millions into that company right away when they heard about it, because it's really $1 billion idea to make packaging that dissolves.
And that we had some cold goods delivered here to the house
from like Minnesota, steak, by the way.
Open up the cruise foam, still frozen, and it's curbside recyclable. everything that was sent in can just go into it can be compostable, or it could be...
The foam is compostable.
The foam is compostable.
And everything's recyclable,
So that's the space that these guys work in. That's the opportunity that presents for us here doing the podcast and in alliance with these guys. On top of the Advocates Summit, though, they had Robert Kennedy Jr. come out. He went surfing with our GOAT, Kelly Slater. He came here and visited the house. We all got to spend time with that.
You'd already had some communication with him back when you were doing Voices for Choices.
Yes.
Trying to fight the lockdowns and the forced mandates and all that BS.
Yes.
He's a presidential candidate. He's obviously JFK's nephew, JFK, who was assassinated. And then his dad was Bobby Kennedy, who was running for Democrat president in 1968, was assassinated at the Democratic National Convention. And this is his son. I mean, he's probably the smartest political person ever met. He's reading 20 hours a day when he's not sleeping. He is reading books. He was an environmental lawyer for 16 years. He cleaned up the Hudson, sued the big companies that dirtied it up. He's been litigating cases against improper landfills. I mean, he knows his stuff inside and out. He knows all about the captured agencies in our government. And the fixes. He wrote a book about Fauci, exposing him as a fraud. But you had communication with him just as Voices for Choices.
Yeah, he dialed in with us to help us understand certain areas of the situation we were all dealing with back there. And he's one wonderful guy. And as you said, he's been on the right side of things for a very long time, and even though I know I posted a shot with us, the family and he, and the things that people come out and say, and the venom with which they say it, there's such anger down inside those people because you don't think the same as them.
Yeah, well,
this
thank
is a
God
new thing,
you don't think the same as them. They're writing that from their car with their mask on alone, just so you know.
Radical,
I mean, they're just the sheep are angry.
Well, it's really sad to see.
But I don't know what they want.
Well, and we know this. We've had the chance to spend time with this guy. We know him outside of a CNN news report or one of those corrupted news agencies and what they
those people you're talking about. They couldn't debate their way out of a coffee mug. I mean, they really have no say. You know, just so upset. They're like, no, the TV told me. The TV told me. Wow. You know, the paid for, bought, and controlled captured media and government agencies told me. We call them bootlickers. Those are the people that thought the Nazis were good, right? You know, because they just wanted to toe the line of the dominant fascist movement. So it's interesting,
And it's interesting to see similar behavior patterns. As a father, being self-righteous, being judgmental, these character traits that I was conscious in myself, and I've worked my way away from being a judgmental human. I've worked my way away from being self-righteous and thinking that what I think is always right and that I know everything, you know. And in that there is so much learning and so much opportunity for perspective because you don't think you know. And those people that think they know and come out like that are so closed that that's what we worry about, is that you're so closed in your opinion that you may never get the opportunity to see something else and stimulate your mind to understand things that really to others may be right there in front of their faces. So it's an interesting time. Whichever side of that fence you're on, I don't vote. I don't see myself as a left or a right or as a Democrat or Republican, Liberal and Labor as it would be in Australia.
Just a stoked punk rock bloke.
Just a stoked bloke who believes that the two-party system, let's just finish on this, right? The two-party system is the problem. They are the two arms, different sides of the same problem, and anyone that represents an opportunity to change that violent, aggressive two-party system situation that we live with, that's got to be explored. And those two parties, you know, wherever you are in the world, it's all condensed down to that opportunity of a couple of parties. And so it would be great for people to open their minds to someone that existed outside of those. And I don't care who it is, but voting for one side or the other is voting for an argument. Yep. It's voting for a premise of arguing and fighting at the very root of your existence between these two governing parties, and then it only gets worse from there.
Well, he's fighting just to get on the ballots in all 50 states.
Well, and
because he's independent.
And you talked about the assassinations in his family, and he's denied security.
Yeah, he's running for president legitimately. He has a legitimate amount of followers, and Biden's supposed to give him, proper,
security.
But they wouldn't. They're making him pay for it. So it's very spiteful politics.
Spiteful.
Yeah, the Biden administration is done. Everyone knows that. So I think the Democrats throw in a little last-minute change. Probably Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama. Anyway, that's what's coming for America. Well, along with Pandemic X, but we'll talk about that. Another one. Let's talk about pipeline.
This has been a very political issue of the Stoked Bloke Show
so
far.
You know, we're kind of forced into these politics. We don't want to be. We want to just surf. But you came and tried to force a mandate on me. Yeah. And then Rip Curl Women tries to force Sasha Lowerson, a man surfing, that I'm supposed to just appreciate that he's wearing a bikini. And we're forced to make these decisions. It's like, I couldn't just go about my day. You came and hit me over the head.
Pipeline Masters is upcoming, 4 days away, as we said.
Barton, I know you have a lot to say. Who wins men's?
Oh, just straight up like that? Straight up. John Florence.
Gabriel Medina.
Somewhere between us, I feel like we're right.
Those are pretty easy choices.
And then if we had to go onto a fringe, you would go Jack Robbo, Kelly Slater.
And I'll go Jack Robbo. Could he do it again? Could he repeat?
I don't know, but I'm guessing, right, that down inside his power-driven personality is that he is manifest. I would love it.
Yeah.
It'd have us all in tears and we would all love it. It'd be a perfect
has to quit
ending.
If he wins, right?
I'd love to see him go to the Olympics if he could get there and win there and get the gold and move on. That would be amazing too. But this is a reality. He's in the event. His hip's better. He is surfing. And the muscle memory in the inner intelligence and muscle memory in that carcass
more than anyone in the event
is more than anyone in the world.
You get him into the 2-man heats.
Come on. He knows exactly what to move. What he has is a deep faith, and sometimes that faith is challenged and it doesn't manifest into the result he wants. Here at Pipeline, with the talent he has and the power that he has right here, he could manifest that into some kind of reality, and what a finish to a career that'd be.
So who wins the women's?
The women's, Carissa Moore.
Moana.
Well, it depends on...
If it's right's Carissa, if it's less Moana.
Exactly,
Yeah.
100%. In the field, we've got Betty Lou, Sakura Johnson, Tyler Wright, as you said, Caroline Marks, the world champ. She's going to surf her first event as a defending world champ. That's exciting.
Cool, yeah.
I hadn't thought of that till just then. That's an exciting moment for her. It's going to be interesting the way she performs, because I know from having won mine, I don't feel like I was ever that focused again. You know what I mean? It just kind of like satisfies that deep down thing if your desire isn't that of Kelly Slater.
When you won your world title, 89?
Yeah.
Was it at near the end of your career?
It was, I was 25, so it was the middle.
Oh my gosh. People are starting at 25 now. You were 25?
Yeah, I started in 83 when I was 18, and then I was 25 when I won in...
Oh my God. That's radical. You were only 25?
Yeah. Young man. People go, in the presentation...
Kelly's 52.
I don't know if yeah, exactly.
52.
Wow. He's 7 years younger than Laird. I always thought Laird Hamilton was older than me, my whole entire life. I thought that. Until Ross Clark-Jones goes, well, the other day, he goes, he's 59, right? And I go, nah.
Who is?
It's got to be Laird Hamilton. I go, he's got to be 62. I'm 60. He's a couple of years older than me.
Because you would have heard about him in the press earlier than you made it to.
Yeah, and there's a big presence and a powerful guy hanging with those
layback cutbacks
hanging with the big knobs too. You know what I mean? At the Lopez house, and then we had to Google it, have a look. He's 6 months younger than me. I couldn't believe it. Look at me. What happened? Good stuff. So that's the women's. I think we agree there. Molly Picklum would be another one, and Tatiana that we would kind of look at and go, well, then you can't write off Caitlin Simmers either. She's so capable. So across the board, I feel like that field's pretty open. We both went Moana, Carissa on the rights, Moana on the lefts, depending on the size.
Didn't Betty Lou win one of those Vans Pipe Masters, and so did Molly?
Yeah, Molly Picklum won last year, yeah.
Molly could do good on the rights, we know that.
And she goes good in the pig dog on the lefts. She's like a really class act.
Yep.
In a level of competitive maturity that might surpass Caitlin Simmers and Moana and some of those other favourites who might not be as competitively driven and focused as Molly. I feel like she's a thoroughbred as such, ready to compete. But Moana No one's better than her out here, and if there's real waves. Men, let's have a quick look at that.
If it's right and it's heavy, those guys like Callum, Jacob Wilcox going backside. I'm thinking about those Chargers. Matty McGillivray. He might skydive out of a helicopter right before his heat, bat wingsuit right into a barrel. I mean, those dudes there's some Chargers down the rankings.
Ryan Callanan, and then Imai Kalani DeVault.
Yeah, Ryan.
Local Hawaiian.
Ryan looks beautiful. And those Miggies in this event. Ian Gavay. There's some people who love surfing pipe who are not in that top echelon. Whereas there's the world champ, Felipe Toledo, not known for pipeline performances.
Yes.
So it's interesting. The top, the bottom, the seeds. By the way, this is the absolute worst decision by the WSL. Okay, the cut's worse. But to start the season at Pipeline, where half the field could get cut.
Yeah.
I mean on the reef, not cut from the event. Could get injured, break a bone, get knocked out, and miss the following events in the lead up to this cut.
And we've seen it happen.
It's insane. Yeah, it happened to Carlos. Ramsey got hurt right before the event. Why do you have one of the most dangerous places in the world as your first event?
Yeah, well, they think it's going to, the world title didn't need Pipeline to be an exciting moment, so you could move that to a place other, and then Pipeline stands alone in its excitement and could be a great opening event to start the year. And I can see how you could get to that if you didn't really know surfing.
But with the cut, it really messes things up because guys could get hurt out here.
Well, the cut messes all sorts of stuff up, and guys will get hurt out here. You know what I mean? That's of an event. An event running a pipeline, someone will get hurt in some way. So you know that there's those heartbreaking stories. Wildcards in this event, Shion Crawford and Jackson Bunch.
Yeah, two good surfers from Hawaii. Not super known for ripping pipeline yet, although Shion was out yesterday getting some crazy ones. Yeah,
he's really, in the last bunch of years since we saw him as a young kid in the Hurley Surf Club events.
This spot and Chopu, whenever they have wild cards, it's really a thorn to the tour surfers because it's always a good surfer.
Matahi Drole at Chopu or whatever, you know. But it makes you realise they hardly ever win, and it's more about being a competitor almost. The advantage that they have at a break and in a wave is equalled by the advantage a consistent competitor has in managing that time. That's what we see in results, and it's interesting because you would think two guys, priority, you're just surfing, kinda. But the wave selection, the management of time, all of it is just so critical that a lot of the time the more experienced competitor will beat the more experienced wildcard.
Time management, is that something you recommend to people that you coach to do in their daily lives? A lot of time management, so that when they get to the heat, it's second nature? Because if not, you should.
You should. No,
that's
you
a
do.
Good one.
I mean, all we have is time. Anyone. The only asset any of us have is time, and how you use it is what determines the outcomes. So, you've got to be focused and use that time well. And in a heat, more important, there's times to just sit back and let you just watch the clock tick by and go, wonderful, this is great.
Don't catch a wave. You're in the lead. You got priority. Sit 10 feet inside your competitor.
Right by them, close enough to control them, and just let nature do its thing. Then when the waves come, then you've got to make those right decisions, which one you catch. Like out here, you can find 10s that no one saw. We've seen it in events where there's just waves that no one looks at really because they're that ugly and they're that dangerous. The guy that goes them, Harry Bryant, might be a great example at the Vans Pipeline Masters. And now we get to watch the world. We got to watch the Vans Pipeline Masters and that sort of invite specialty event. And that was a good event, good pipeline event. Then we had the Backdoor shootout. It had some tough conditions, and in the end we saw Billy Kemper, Seth Moniz second, Jamie O'Brien third, and I feel like that was a really good representation of the top three in that event. And now we've got the world's best competitive surfers from the World Surf League's World Championship Tour, and they're going to come to the pipeline and try their luck as well. The weather looks a little funky. There's some weird south winds. There's been more south winds this winter than any winter I've experienced.
So the winds could be sketchy.
Yeah, the winds, the forecast There's swell back to back to back. There's swells, but there's some weird winds, south winds. I mean, it's surfable out there now, but it's got a side.
Terrible for the rights, though.
Well, blowing into them, opening them up, perhaps smoother on the face going left. It just depends day to day how much west is in that wind or not.
And you're not a judge for this event.
I'm not a judge. I'm not a commentator.
So we'll be hanging out
here with you, watching it here, and we'll do some lives. We'll do some Instagram lives or whatever for the people. So Pipeline Masters coming up. Best of luck to everyone in that event. Massive thanks to A New Earth Project, Wes Carter, Don Meek, Peter King for his contribution to today's show, because he was on fire today and he gave some. You might not see it all, but he did. We love you people. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.